First actual pregnancy vlog here, which is crazy. So again, I am 30 weeks and 4 days pregnant today. So definitely well into the third trimester and really just trying to get prepared for baby's arrival, which I mean, who knows? The actual due date is April 24th, but yeah, okay. So one, of course, babies are so unpredictable. You never know what they're gonna do. But going back to my last pregnancy 7 years ago with Alex, I went 2 weeks past my due date and had to get induced, and ended up having an emergency C-section after a really, really long labor. Um, from the time that they inserted the Cervidil to the time that I had him in the OR, it was 56 hours. So, not going through that again. So that kind of comes to the next question, which I'm anticipating being asked, which is C-section versus vaginal birth after cesarean. And honestly, where I am at is kind of a hybrid plan. Um, I don't have the specifics of my birth plan nailed down because I do need to go over everything with Jordan. Um, obviously, I kind of know. Obviously, I've been through this before. Jordan hasn't, and he's a little squeamish in hospitals too. So I want to make sure we're on the same page with everything. But the biggest thing is that I will not be induced, most likely. So what I mean by that is I had a failed induction with Alex because my body wasn't ready, and there was nothing that I could do other than really just proceed with an induction anyway, because I wasn't dilated at all with Alex. I was not effaced. I mean, he was way high up, not even close to being engaged in the pelvis. Basically, everything that would kind of yield a failed induction was what I had going for me. Yes, I was having contractions. I was having tons of contractions, actually. Very consistent, regular contractions when they first hooked me up on the monitors, but my cervix wasn't doing anything. So, I don't plan on going through another induction. Now, that being said, if I am, 3 centimeters dilated, fully effaced, and, baby's in a good position, then I might go for an induction. But I'll have some kind of some some firm rules in place. The last thing I want to end up doing is having a moment where I'm extremely delirious at 2 a.m. and all of a sudden baby's heart rate drops like completely almost to nothing. I'm not going through that again. So as of right now, the way the plan stands is that I will schedule a C-section right around my due date sometime, depending on kind of hospital stuff. Um, if I go into labor on my own before then, I will definitely do a trial of labor, hoping for a VBAC. I don't know the team that's going to be at the hospital I'm delivering, and there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in a second. Um, so really, it's all up in the air. I'm not very optimistic. I know that you're supposed to try to be optimistic and, really kind of like plan for the birth that you want. But, I did that with Alex and kind of screwed myself over, honestly. I wasn't prepared for the what ifs. The what if my cervix just doesn't dilate during the induction? What if I have a C-section? What if, like I wasn't prepared for any of that. And kind of the worst, other than baby being really sick or me being really sick, or having some sort of vascular event. Honestly, like the worst stuff could have happened as far as how my induction went, how my C-section ended up going, and then of course afterwards when he was transferred to another hospital, and I just don't want to deal with any of that again. So that leads me to the next part, which is about hospital drama that I've been dealing with. So initially, my plan, honestly, where I was at emotionally, was that I wanted to go with whatever was going to be the least stressful, and the easiest to plan and things like that, because I just don't want to deal with all the extra stress of driving a half an hour away to the hospital and everything like that. So there is a hospital here in town where we live, and that's where I was planning on delivering. Um, They are not a VBAC friendly hospital. They will not do VBACs, obviously, unless it's a woman walks in and literally, has a baby coming out of her at that moment in time. But generally they don't do VBACs. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I will have a planned gentle cesarean, 39 weeks. We'll go with that. We'll be close to home, tons of family around. Alex will be able to come see the baby, things like that. Well, now with COVID being advanced, that's probably not what would happen anyway. But so I had one of my prenatal appointments, and 2 days later, I was on Facebook and I see this post about how the labor and delivery ward, maternity ward, whatever, at my local hospital was announcing that it would be closing in February. Like, what? What? Yeah, it was not mentioned to me at my appointment. It turns out it's because it hadn't been announced yet. I'm not even really sure that she knew, or if she did know, it wasn't official and she couldn't say anything about it. But I was kind of like, what the heck? So then my next appointment, I was like, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I understand that we won't be having a baby here. And she's like, yep, you're going to be one of my guinea pigs. Because she doesn't necessarily have a lot of consistent patients. Because I've been to this one doctor. My pre-conception appointments were with her. My appointments regarding the ectopic and follow-up were with her. And she's been following this pregnancy, very, very much the only doctor kind of on my case. I've met the other OBs, but in general, she's been my OB. And so she's like, you're going to be one of the first patients that I have that's going to be delivering at a different hospital. So she is used to being able to be there for the birth of her patients. So a little different. So I go to a clinic that is part of a larger group, and there are a couple area hospitals that are owned by this company. And so it's, kind of like a corporate thing. So there's a larger hospital with a high level NICU, and then there's another larger hospital with an even higher NICU in the neighboring city, because I live in the Twin Cities, which are two cities right next to each other. One has a lower level, one has a really high level NICU, but they're both great hospitals as far as I'm concerned. My son was at the NICU at one of those hospitals, and I had a really good experience with that, other than him being in the NICU. And so I'm going to be delivering there, and it's going to be whatever doctor from their hospital is on call. And that's just how it is. I'm not going to really be in a position to switch care at this point and then meet all the OBs and then hope that that's just not how it's going to work. It is going to be a situation where essentially it's whoever's on call, I get what I get. Honestly, from what I have experienced, the nursing care makes the biggest difference in your experience. And I know a couple of nurses that actually work at this hospital. Used to work with one, I'm friends with another, and then the other one I knew like 10, 15 years ago. So, I feel like I'm okay with this change. I'm not super stressed out about not having control over who's going to be there. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Because I have no control over what my body is going to do. Maybe I'm trusting the doctors a little too much. I don't know, but it is what it is, and I'm just not going to stress about it. So this other hospital does do VBAC. They are VBAC supportive. It really just depends on the provider, but the nursing staff that is there, again, they have several doctors that they work with that are VBAC supportive, and they actually have a pretty high VBAC rate compared to other hospitals. Obviously, it depends on the provider that you get, but again, the nursing and delivery staff, they're very important in that. And so I'm hoping to be able to kind of work with them and just, who knows? I mean, if I go in for a C-section, that's fine too. But like I said, I don't plan on being induced just because of how traumatic my induction was. It really just all comes down to what this baby does, what position he's in, and essentially, just those little things like what my cervix does. Things like that. He's my kitty. He's my newest kitty. So that brings me to the next point, and I think I've spoiled it a couple of times, pronoun wise. So we are having another boy, and we're very excited about that. I mean, I was gonna be happy with another boy. I was hoping for a girl at the same time, but honestly, so part of me really wanted a boy because a couple of reasons. One, my brother had a girl, and so, you know, it's my boy, his daughter, and then now it'll be my son. And there's a lot of drama and complication that came up around the birth of his daughter. I haven't met her, um, and she's a couple years old at this point. So there's a lot with that, and I just didn't want to replace her in a way. You know, I was kind of relieved for that reason to find out we were having a boy. Um, the other part of it too is that Jordan's sister actually had a little girl just a couple weeks ago. And so I didn't really want there to be competition in a way between like the two girls. I mean, they would have been very close and maybe, but still like I don't know, like I feel like we get our own we get our own experience by having a little boy. So I'm happy, and plus I know what to expect. And I don't know. I'm satisfied with having two boys. I think it's going to be great. Um, you know, we are pretty sure that we're done. The only reason I say it like that is just because we're both pretty positive that we're done, but I'm not positive enough that I'm done to get my tube tied when I have my C-section, if I have a C-section. So, I mean, we kind of figured Jordan would have a vasectomy maybe at some point. But we just, I mean, part of it is we don't think we'd be able to have another anyway because, I mean, it took so long to have a successful pregnancy, and we still don't have a reason for why I've had so many losses and why this pregnancy is any different, because I did nothing different with this pregnancy. And we don't want to do IVF ideally. Especially not to have a third. Like that just seems selfish at this point. Like no problem with IVF, but for us personally, since we, you know, have Alex and then hopefully we're gonna have a nice healthy babe here too, it just would seem selfish and like a waste of resources to go through IVF for baby number 3. It just anyway, so again, pretty decided that this is it, but not 100% sure. Essentially. Now, if this was a girl, Jordan has already admitted that he would actually probably want to have another to try to have a son, but um, who knows? I mean, he's seen how rough this pregnancy's been on me. So, so I will make a video about pregnancy complications and things like that to give you an update on how this pregnancy has gone and how different it has been from Alex's pregnancy. But that's really it for right now. I'm just kind of wanting to get everybody all up to date on the big things from this pregnancy so I can move forward with weekly bump updates or other pregnancy updates as days go on. And I think that the only thing left is just to show you guys I'm a little bit bigger than I was when I was with pregnant with Alex. So I'll just try to show you guys here. So 34 weeks, 4 days. And this is how big I was when I was like 37 weeks with Alex. So definitely carrying very round. I mean, I know I'm heavier, but like this is pretty much like this is belly, right? I don't have like a ton of fat here. I've got more on the sides and more cushion just all around in general, but I have lightened up a little bit in the last couple of days. He was butt right here on my right side, kind of curved around this way and kicking me over here, so transverse. And then just since yesterday, his butt's been right here, and he's kind of curved right along here, and he's been kicking me over here. So big change there. I do have some stretch marks here that are all kind of from my last pregnancy here. You can just kind of see really faintly the scars from my last stretch marks. And then these are the stretch marks. Where are they even? I can't even see that far. Right in here, fingerprints. Stretch marks right in here that are starting to darken up. So yes, I do already have a pregnancy line that showed up a few weeks ago. In general, I feel like I'm just carrying so much bigger. And I don't know how I can do another 9.5 weeks of this. I just don't, I, I don't, I don't understand how I can get so, how is it going to keep growing? Where's the room? I don't understand. So, so that's just, I know that you showed earlier, you tend to be bigger with your second pregnancy, but like, this is way different. Like, yes, I know that I'm heavier, but weight wise, when I got pregnant with Alex, I was 134 pounds, and then when I had him, I was 100 and somewhere between like 165 and 170. I don't remember the exact weight. I know I came home from the hospital at 172. I gained weight. Um, but you know, this pregnancy, I started off at 155 pounds, so already 20 pounds heavier. And then now I don't even know my weight. My last appointment, I was over 170. So I'm probably going to end up right around like 190 is my guess because well, maybe not. Maybe I've leveled out. Maybe I'll only end up around 180. But um, I do I'm technically overweight, so I expect to be overweight. Like I'm not restricting myself, but I'm also trying to eat healthy, um, trying to get like a good balance of things. I'm not just eating a bunch of junk, but I'm not restricting myself calorie wise. If I want that ice cream, I am eating that ice cream. Um, just I need to listen to my body, and so far I feel okay. Haven't quite reached the stage where my face is gonna start getting really, really round. It'll happen. Um, yeah, so that's it. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I've reached a point where I'm exhausted, and I hope that I have enough time and energy to edit this so I can post it. And I will, again, plan on continuing to make videos. I need to find my camera's battery charging port thing, get that all set up so I can actually be recording with my camera. I have a different computer than I used to. Um, So this is all like a new system and it's been so long. I mean, it's been years. It's been 10 years since I started vlogging. But I took such a long and inconsistent break. I kept saying I was coming back and then I didn't. But I have good reason now, and because I'm not employed, I have time for that. So I will see you guys next week.